What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon, and we're here, week 18. We've been through a whole season. Thank you for sticking with us all year. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, moneyline underdog parlay, touchdown parlay, and of course, we will build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Stuck, what is going on? How you feeling? You're still up 13 on me. So I still got work to do, but how you feeling about week 18?
Good. It's been a good run. Hope to keep it going and hope my Ravens get in the dance, because if you're in the dance this year, you can make a run. It's wide open in both conferences. So excited for the playoffs. This card, you have 3 island games, which are going to have some intrigue. The rest of Sunday is pretty meh. It's gonna be a lot of backup quarterbacks, a lot of resting starters. So yeah, I'm ready for playoff football, but where there's a card, there's opportunities to make money. So let's have a week.
Yeah, and of course we have a couple games on Saturday. So those are the 2 island games you referred to: Bucks, Panthers, and the Niners and Seahawks. That'll be for the number 1 seed in the NFC. And then Sunday night we have Ravens, Steelers. So think we're gonna end up talking about all those in either the six-pack or the total No, there's one game we won't talk about. So we'll talk about that at the end. But for my first pick and the first overall of the week,
Aren't I first this week? Am I first this week?
Oh, I don't know. I'm listed first in the doc. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think I'm first this week.
Yeah. I think we we flipped it one time when we drafted from the way we drafted. But yeah.
Okay. So for my first pick of the week 18 Sunday six-pack, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals -7.5 at home against the Cleveland Browns. Shout to the Browns for taking care of me last week.
Oh, yeah.
Been my most profitable team 2 years in a row. They're not really that difficult to figure out. You bet them at home, where they're 62% against the spread over the past 3 years. One of the best teams in the NFL. And on the road, they are the worst by far. They're 6-18 against the spread over the past 3 years, 25%, failing to cover by nearly a touchdown per game. Their defense, not as good on the road. But why do I like this? Well, for a number of reasons. One, the Bengals offense is rolling. Burrow's going to start. Their offensive line is playing better, like Fairchild, Mims. Then Burrow is going to get his points. The question is, can Cleveland keep up? And I don't think they will be able to, for a number of reasons. The Cleveland offense is very bad. Shedeur Sanders is very bad. The focal point of the Browns offense is basically, let's see how many times we can get the ball to Harold Fannin. Luckily, he played 1 quarter last week before he pulled his groin and was able to catch a 50-yard touchdown. I don't think he's playing this week. I don't think Njoku's playing. And I don't see how the Browns will be able to keep up. Where I think that there's some value in this, and there's also some emotional aspect. Like Cleveland, that was like their Super Bowl last week. We know that they've always been bad on the road, but like a little bit of an emotional letdown. Really nothing to play for here. They beat the Steelers. They just want to get the Garrett sack. Once that happens, it's gravy. But the Bengals defense, I think, is underrated right now. Over the first 10 weeks of the season, they were historically bad. Like one of the worst defenses of all time. If you just look at, like, for example, look at DVOA. But since week 11, they've been significantly better. For example, they're 3rd in rush success rate. Why? Is it a random sample, or is there something to it? I think there's something to it for a myriad of reasons. One, you have a new coordinator, Al Golden. It's going to take some time. He's figured some things out schematically. They changed, so that makes sense. You also have two rookie starting linebackers who were as bad as I've ever seen linebackers over the first 10 weeks. They're starting to play better. Still not great, but playing better. One of the tweaks that Golden made is he changed their alignments up front. Slayton is really thriving, especially against the run. They're getting something from Murphy. And then one of the biggest things that happened is, and I mentioned him like a month ago on this podcast, um, is they a guy who's been on their like practice squad for years took over in the slot, Jalen Davis. And what that enabled is Dax Hill to kick out outside. Since he's done that, he's been one of the best corners in the league. And DJ Turner has been one of the better corners in the league all season. So now they have two really good corners on the outside. Your rookie linebackers are playing better. Your defensive line is playing better with the new alignments. And then just Golden has a better idea of who this personnel is, and they're playing much better. And it's not like they've played clowns. They played the Ravens twice. They played the Bills. They played the Pats, the Dolphins, who are a really good run game, and the Cardinals, whose offense has been good. And they were really good in a lot of those games. Even against the Bills in a snow game against Allen, like that, they were holding them way under expectation until Barrow threw the pick six and threw another pick. And their third in success rate. A lot of those teams are some of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. So I think this Bengals defense is underrated right now. And I just don't think that Cleveland can keep up with Burrow and company. So give me the Bengals at home laying 7.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with this. I mean, it's Burrow has had struggles with that Cleveland defense in the past, but most of those have been in Cleveland. And we were on the Bengals, I think. I mean, on the Browns earlier this year when they did it in Cleveland. But as you point out, their defense just for some reason falls off a cliff on the road. And then this whole Garrett thing too is like the Steelers were saying they were more focused on that last week. So
that won't be the case with Burrow. He won't care if he has to give it up a sack. I mean, he's probably going to get the record this week. Schweschinger also got banged up. He couldn't really move. I think he's going to play, but he looked like a shell of himself in the second half of that game. So, yeah, I just don't think the Browns can keep up here. And Shador's probably going to turn it over a couple times, and then it's lights out. And the Browns can't play from behind. So if they get behind here, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, they can't. Shador Sanders has actually looked at times better than I expect, but that's just there's such a low bar there. I mean, it's with
Fannin and Njoku. Like he's throwing mostly like everything is like underneath, quick throws. He'll take an occasional shot. But if you don't have Fannin and Njoku now, it's bleak.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm with you on this one. All right. For my first pick, the second overall, the Week 18 six-pack, I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -2.5 at home against the Carolina Panthers. And this is disgusting. The Bucs have played terribly over the past 2 months. But if you look at their offense, the big loss right now is Tristan Wirfs. But he's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play. But they've been without so many more guys than this for the entire year. They're still better than Carolina in DVOA. And this is a revenge game now. It's the second division game. It's at home. What will probably happen is the Bucs will probably win this game, and then
the Falcons are going to win.
And the
Panthers
exactly.
are getting in. That's definitely
it'll be something ridiculous like that. But the thing about the Bucs is they are a veteran team that has just been going to the postseason pretty much since the Brady years. They've always been solid. I just think part of it has to be the human element. I don't think they were super motivated these last couple months because every year they win the division with some kind of record like this, essentially, like 8-9, 9-8. So I think that the Bucs, I know they've been underperforming. Some of it to me is just inexplicable. Like maybe Mayfield's hurt, but they're still just underperforming expectation. Especially given the fact that Godwin's back in the lineup, Evans is back in the lineup, McMillan's back in the lineup. Abuka has just been dropping balls, and they've just been off ever since like guys came back, which is it's just all inexplicable. But what I'm trying to say is I think the Bucks are underrated. I think they've been just playing worse than expectation. And the Panthers, they've been running hot. I mean, it was on the wrong side of them last week, but I thought they did what they needed to do in the first half defensively. That's slowing down Darnold and that Seahawks offense, but it just could not put points on the board. They haven't been as good on the road for all those wins as underdogs and all those.
Bryce Young on the road.
They were just 4-4 against the spread on the road. So this has just been a different team. The Bucks, it's ugly, but I can't get to Carolina anything less. Like I make this 3.5. I can't get inside the field goal here. I did take the money line. If you can get a cheap money line, I mean, it's probably going to come down to the wire. NFC South games tend to do that, but I just think the Bucks have been underperforming for so long now that we're getting them inside of a field goal against a team that they are better than on paper. And I think, especially given the home road. So give me Tampa Bay -2.5 at home against Carolina on Saturday. First game of the week.
I can't believe that you took the Bucks. I was deciding between the Bengals and the Bucks for my first. Those are my two favorite sides of the week. And then you took the Bucks. That was going to be my second pick. On a tough week, there's a lot of these games that are just unbettable right now, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I mean, I've been the lead singer of the band that's been yelling that the Bucks stink for 2 months. They were a complete fraud early with like fluky late last second wins. And it's not a good team. They're not a good team. I have not bet them one time this year. This will be the first time I'm betting them. And it's when it came down to 2.5. At 3, I would have passed. Even 3.5, I might have considered a small bet on Carolina. But under 3, I have to bet. This is big. This is the bottom of the market. I mean, they haven't covered in 8. They've 0-8 against the spread in their past 8 games. 0-8. This is the bottom. Two weeks ago, Tampa was favored by 3 in Carolina. Yeah, on the road. Now it's a cheaper number at home. Under 3, under the key of 3. That's the 3 is king. I have to bet this. Even though the Bucks stink, Baker is probably playing hurt. He's a limited participant. He'll play. I think Wirfs actually is going to try to give it a go. They have some other injuries, but the Panthers don't get pressure on defense, so the offensive line injuries aren't as big of a deal here. And in that game, I mean, it was a coin flip game that they lost to Carolina, and there was a coverage bust at the end of the first half, and Carolina scored a touchdown with 20 seconds to go when Dean ran the wrong coverage. But at 2.5, you got to buy low on the Bucks here, as sad as it is. And the NFL scriptwriters, they've been on fire. Last week, you got the Ravens win, the Steelers lose, the Falcons beat the Rams, the 49ers beat the Bears. Everything that had to happen to set up the drama. Well, look at this Sunday slate in the afternoon. It's bad. The NFC South is coming down to Falcons, Saints, who might be the 2 best teams in the division right now. And they're not going to play. It's ridiculous that we're not going to win Falcons to win the division. And then they're going to finish a tie for first because of all the ridiculous games that they lost. But I'm with you on the Bucks. All right, ugly. For my second pick and the 3rd overall, the Week 18 Sunday 6-pack, I am going with the... This is ugly. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings -6 at home against the Green Bay Packers. This is something. But, I mean, I'm not going to get into... Here, I'll just make this simple and quick. The Packers don't care about this game at all. They're going to field a practice squad. They're already locked into the 7 seed. Last year in this same spot, they played, and Love got banged up, and Watson tore his ACL. Anyone worth anything is not sniffing the field. They're going to this is a walkthrough. Just going to hand the ball off. They're not game planning for this game. They're not game planning for the Vikings. Clayton Tune, maybe it's Malik Willis, but I think it's going to be Clayton Tune. Have they said that in the last hour?
No, I think so too, though, because that's the only way I would get to this line. Like, Malik Willis has been surprisingly efficient with the Packers anyway. But I think it's going to be Tune. I think it's going to be Tune.
But I even think if it's Malik Will, like if it was Malik Willis, they're just going to hand it off. Like, why are you going to run any offense? But I think it's going to be Clayton Tune. Clayton Tune with no weapons, probably an offensive line injuries against a Brian Flores defense. No, they're not going to score. How are they going to score? So I don't care if it's Max. There's a chance it's JJ McCarthy. They want to get another look at him. They said I don't care if it's Max Brosmer. The Vikings defense will probably score here. If the Vikings get to like 13, they should cover. Um, they'll be able to run the ball. And by the way, the Packers defense has fallen off. They've had injuries since week 11, and that's when they lost Wyatt. They're 26 in EPA per play and 26 in success rate. And a lot of that has to do with losing Parsons, who might be worth, I don't know, 2.5, 3 points of a spread. He's that important, that good, and draws that much attention. But the key guys in the Green Bay's defense, well, they're not going to play either. So Minnesota should be able to run the ball here. And it's just a team that wants to win, close out their season with a win, is still fighting with a really good defense against Clayton Tune, against a team that doesn't care. That's it. Give me the Vikings. Anything under a touchdown, I think, is fine. I think this will be like 20-3.
Yeah, I mean, their defense has also been like pretty much the best in the league over the past 6 weeks or so. Like, just as the Packers defense fell off, the Vikings defense has been unbelievable. I would still worry if it was Willis. Like, if it was Willis, I would want it inside, 6, probably closer to that 3 range, just because. Have you seen Malik Willis's numbers with the Packers? I mean, I know they're going to hand it off mostly, but when he
they're
throws,
insane. I think he leads all passers like EPA per dropback over the past 2 years.
He doesn't throw incompletions, and every throw he makes is like it ends up gaining like 20 yards. Like, it's just he's completed in 79% of his passes with the Packers, 10.9 yards per attempt, and he's up to like 80 attempts now, which is, it's not much, but it's Malik Willis. It's still ridiculous. I
wonder where he's going to go next year, which is insane. But I do think it's going to be Tune. If it is Willis, though, like, I don't think they're calling anything. Also, I don't think Jacobs isn't playing, Watson isn't playing, Doubs isn't playing, like even Musgrave isn't playing, Tom isn't playing. Like, they're all these guys aren't going to play. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you can't afford any more injuries. So like, McKinney's not playing, Evan Williams isn't playing, Walker, Cooper, like all these guys are probably going to sit. This is going to be a practice squad. So there is some uncertainty with the quarterback situation. I'll give you that. But even if Willis plays, with what's around him and what I expect him to call, I don't think, like, LaFleur is a really good play caller, a really good game planner, a really good schemer. He's not spending a second on this game plan. There's no like, he's preparing for next week and their opponents next week. There's no, like, they're not showing anything. There's not going to be any receivers playing. It's like, they're going to just, everyone, when they throw, it'll be just like an occasional go route to what Matthew Golden probably is going to lead the team in.
I mean, that's targets. Not bad. Like, that's not bad with Willis. That's what I'm saying. Like, with Willis and like Golden, Cole Melton, and who would it be? I guess somebody would have to play, like Wicks, I guess, or maybe it could be practice squad guys. But like, it wouldn't be the worst thing with Willis. But I do think it's going to be Tune. I think that's why they put Willis on the injury report and like pulled him late. And then it was like, he was like, yeah, I could have gone back in the game, but he's already listed with the shoulder. So I think I'm betting this
thinking it's Tune. Yeah. But I don't think it's dead if Willis plays.
It's not dead. Clearly not.
Yeah. But it'll be way much tougher. But and then the Packers defense is going to be a shell. Like, so I do think that the Vikings will be able to run the ball to move it.
All right. Before we continue with the Sunday 6-pack, just a reminder, you can tell some of the bets we discussed in today's show by finding the quick slip link in the podcast and video description. You can also go to actionnetwork.com/bet now to find those quick slips, or even better, sign up for Action Pro. Action Pro users get real-time alerts as soon as experts like Stuckey, Brandon Anderson, and myself track picks in the Action app. You'll also get real-time money percentages to see where the smart money is flowing, and of course, access to our NFL player prop projections powered by Sean Kerner and the predictive analytics team. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro to get started and use promo code POD20 for $20 off an annual subscription. That's POD20 for $20 off an annual subscription. The rest of our Sunday 6-pack for week 18 is coming up, but first I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $100 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings' same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right. For my second pick, the fourth overall of the week 18 6-pack, I'm going with the New York Giants plus 4.5 at home against the Dallas Cowboys. And this is just a spot where, I mean, the Giants clearly nothing to play for. They won that game last week. Raiders play later in the day. So I guess they technically maybe would try to tank, but I don't think they're trying to tank any more than the Cowboys at this point. The Cowboys are saying, hey, we're going to try to finish the season strong. Even if they do, we know teams that are trying in week 18 doesn't tend to go well. So I can't get to 4.5 for the Giants at home. I mean, this is a game where in Dallas with a worse quarterback early in the year, and Russell Wilson threw for a zillion yards, and they should have won that game. Ended up losing by 3 in overtime. Now you're at home. The Cowboys, yes, they're saying all the right things. We want to play hard, but I mean, they just released Trevon Diggs. Who knows what Jerry's thinking, and as far as getting the draft pick, because he's already kind of just like worried about his the salary cap. So I mean, they could still be trying to lose this game under the radar. But even if they're not, I just make this about 2.5, 3 for the Cowboys. They're not a good defense. They have no corners. The Giants have been better with Jackson Dart, and I just think this Giants team is, they're consistently kind of been underrated. They keep finding ways to lose games, but the fact that they were trying to, it seemed more like they were trying to tank last week, but the Raiders just completely out tanked them and they won 34-10. This is like a similar kind of defense here, much better offense, but on the road, I could see the Cowboys laying an egg here. As much as they're saying the right things, they got a lot of key guys kind of banged up too. So I don't know if they give it a full go here. The Giants, just by virtue of playing Dart, I think are trying. That's the thing. I go back and forth last week. I tempted to bet them against the Raiders once that Bowers news hit, but you're not sure. But I just don't think they're tanking, given that Dart is still out there. He's still running. So yeah, give me the Giants at home. When you have these week 18 dogs, that are, so there's we've only had week 18 for a few years now, but when you have a dog going up against a favorite who's about anywhere from 10% to 33% better in win percentage, essentially, few games, but they're not that much better than the team. The underdog in those situations, 16-4, 80% against the spread. Small sample, obviously, but everything's pointing for me to the G-men here. So give me the Giants one more time, plus 4.5.
Maybe I'll tell you for some action on Sunday if I need it, but I have no thoughts on that game. None. I'm curious to see the Giants offensive line. Like last week, the Raiders were clearly not trying to shut down Crosby. Does that cause more issues this week? I don't know. The Giants, yeah. That numbers wise, I agree with you, but I just don't have any strong thoughts in this game. What a terrible game.
I mean,
all right, for
overshown and they're all Dallas has no players either. Their defense is already terrible. So yeah.
For my third pick and the 5th overall, the Week 18 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons -3 at home against the New Orleans Saints. This is how the Panthers get in the playoffs. This is how the NFC is going to work. NFC South's going to work. Bucks win Saturday, Falcons win Sunday, Panthers 8-9 host a playoff game.
Ridiculous.
And then we probably bet them when the number's too high. That's just the way the world works. So the Falcons, we already talked about this. They're a good team. They're just poorly coached and have historically bad special teams, which have cost them 4 games. I mean, they lost to the Pats because of a missed extra point in New England. They lost to the Colts when the Colts were playing well in overtime. They gave up a bunch of big returns in that game. They lost to the Jets, who they dominated statistically because they muffed a punt at their own 2. I mean, You could go on and on. They lost to they lost to the Panthers in overtime after blowing a big lead because of a bunch of injuries. This team is just a lot of it is coaching, a lot of it is special teams. But you look around, their defense is really good. They can get pressure. I love their secondary. Uh, their offensive line is really good. Pitts now has emerged with Cousins. Bijan Robinson is arguably the best back in the NFL. Cousins is playing well, and like this team has all the incentive to keep winning. They don't have a first round draft pick. It's gone to the Rams. Uh, Cousins is playing potentially for a job. The whole staff is coaching for a job. Like they're going to try here. Now the Saints are also going to try. But look, the Tyler Shuck love, he's playing well. It's gone too far. I mean, he's played this is who the Saints have played since the bye. The Falcons, who they got blown out by at home with Shuck, and that was without Drake London. The Dolphins, who they lost to, and here's who they beat: the Bucks, the free-falling Bucks, the Panthers, the Jets, and the Titans. Like, come on. That is comical. You want to talk about teams that just don't get pass rushes, by the way? Bad defenses. All teams, they haven't played a team that's gone to like Carolina or Tampa. Whoever wins that is going to the playoffs. They're not really a playoff caliber team. Shuck really hasn't faced a playoff caliber team. So let's cool it. And then you look like the Falcons secondary is good, and there's one receiver you got to cover now on the Saints. That's it. Cover Olave. Like you're worried about Kevin Austin. Who else is out there? But Mason Tipton. Nah, come on.
Maybe.
There's offensive line injuries. No. Bijan is going to get fed here, which I like. They're not like this is just the last game of the year. You don't have to worry about splitting, and they want to go for the scrimmage yard record. Bijan's going off. Give me the Falcons -3. NFC South science. This is how the Panthers get in.
Just disgusting. It's gonna happen. Yeah, the Saints have been looking a lot better, but I don't think they're gonna play. Like they're gonna hold out anyone who's even, and they have a lot of guys on the injury report and a lot of guys that already went to IR. So it's not even like your full strength, Saint squad. It's like a half practice squad, but with a better quarterback than most of the year Saint squad, which it's not scary at all. For my third pick and the sixth overall of the Week 18 six-pack, I am going with the Miami Dolphins +10.5 at the New England Patriots. And this is just one of these Week 18 spots where, one team has nothing to play for, completely eliminated, and the other team still has something to play for, but gets a little murky with the Patriots. I mean, their chances of moving up to the number one seed are like 15, 20%. They won't know, but they do know that the Chargers are resting people against the Broncos. Thought about going to Chargers too, but I just don't know, as we record this, I don't know exactly how many people they're resting.
Yeah.
And that's really my issue because I think the Chargers can cover the number 12.5 with Trey Lance. I mean, the Broncos, look at them last week against
the Broncos don't blow out anybody.
Right. Yeah. But I mean,
if the Chargers sit like all their defenders,
and then that's the thing.
Like if they sit like offensive linemen to that already, and all their weapons, like
now you have a terrible quarter, like a quarterback who's looked bad at times. Again, with no supporting cast, that worries me because the Broncos did what did they roll the Chiefs 38-0? I think it was last year in this kind of spot. So it's like that. This is why I'm going with the Dolphins because I think that if the Chargers do sit a lot of guys, which I think they are leaning in that direction. They're just concerned with the playoffs at this point, especially after what happened last year. They just got rolled. They're not going to take any chances with how banged up Herbert has been. I don't think so. And they don't really have even if they play this offensive line is pretty bad. It's all been Herbert digging them out of holes. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins here because the Patriots.
Yeah, if the Chargers getting blown out.
Yeah,
then the Patriots are going to pull starters. Also, I think the Patriots will try to start, but they can probably still win this game with a half squad. And they know that their chances are lower. So what that means is anyone who's injured, and they have a lot of injuries, isn't playing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's kind of my angle with the Dolphins. Yes, they're 10.5 against 12.5 for the Chargers, but Patriots just super banged up. Now they played the Jets last week, which is going to kind of inflate. Like, yes, the Patriots are really good, but the Patriots have still been kind of running a little bit hot all year.
I mean, they play backup quarterbacks every single week.
And they're playing another one, but this one actually might be better than the starter. So it's not a super big downgrade. Statistically, they're about the same, but eye test wise, Ewers goes downfield more. There's less tape on him. Guys are still playing hard. Just got some young guys kind of playing for Miami that weren't playing the whole year, so they're still trying. And yeah, this Patriot team, I think what could happen is coming off that Jet game where they played a backup quarterback. Everything was super easy, even with the backup squad. They could take this one a little more for granted, and you could see them ease up, especially because they know there's a very small chance the Broncos lose to the Chargers with Trey Lance starting for LA. So yeah, I think second half you could even if the Patriots build a big lead, it can start to get away from them. I also think the market is never going to be higher on the Patriots. They just destroyed the Jets with. They had like half an offense there playing, and the Jets, just nothing there. They're clearly tanking with Brady Cook. So it's like now you got a Dolphins team that seems on paper like, okay, well, maybe it's kind of a similar situation, but they've been trying. They look better with Quinn Ewers than they did with Tua. And yeah, I think New England could just end up sitting guys, whether it's the second half or just being cautious heading into this game. And then I just think the human element also takes over. The fact that they learned so early about this Charger thing, I think could have a negative impact. I know Vrabel has been great, but this is a team that's they're still 17th in DVOA total. Like they're still below average.
They've had the easiest schedule of any team over the past 30 years.
Yeah, they're kind of getting penalized for the schedule, I would say, but that's the point. Like, I think a lot of Drake May. I think he's great, but like this is a team it's like they're like in the 15th, I should say, not 17th, 15th, but they're mid-pack in DVOA, total DVOA, and then like the Dolphins are 21st and might be better with Ewers than they've been with Tua. So, and they only got 4 games out of Tyreek Hill, so it's not like he's skewing the metrics like that much. And they, Waller's been good for them. They have something with Dulcich. They might even have something with the kid Theo Wees, taking over that spot for Westbrook Akine, who's giving them absolutely nothing. And then they have speed guys like, Waddle, Achane, Malik Washington. So like, if the Patriots just kind of relax in this one, the Dolphins can make some plays. So yeah, give me Miami 10.5. Like this is a number. I would make it like 9.5, at full strength. Cause again, the Patriots are a little bit luckier than maybe the record would suggest, but now you have that element of the Patriots have something to play for. Technically, the Dolphins don't. So I love Miami here, plus 10.5.
I will say the Patriots do have an incentive to win still.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I like that.
No, I'm saying even if the Broncos, just for full transparency, people know, if the Broncos are blowing out the Chargers, the Patriots still want to win because they can drop to the 3 if the Jags win and they lose. So I just wanted to point that out so people know. But yeah, I think it's the right side.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jags are going to win, but I just think the Patriots, they got to be cautious here. They showed they were going to be cautious last week. So I just think the Dolphins are on a different plane than the Jets. Is really what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. We got.
I got Burrow,
Cousins,
and a mystery box.
Yeah, probably Max Brosmer, and then I got Baker Mayfield, which is actually not a good thing. Jackson Dart and Ewers, which I had some promising young quarterbacks.
How's Baker the worst quarterback of that group?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe
28 DPA per play since week 7.
It makes no sense because the last couple of weeks, I mean, it's been better, but you still feel like something's off.
Those picks were bad last week.
Yeah, it's like he still thinks. I mean, really, we know what it is. It's the Liam Cohen effect.
Liam Cohen, yeah. And Ben Johnson for the Lions. Those are the 2 teams that we loved in the offseason, and the 2 teams we wanted. You could say it.
Yeah, it's the coach. Not coaching. Just and we'll get out of here and get to the totals and all that. But I do want to say this playoff race, like this, once it starts, is going to be really good because I think yes, you have some of the heavyweights that are normally in there, may not be there. Chiefs, obviously, maybe the Ravens, but I think coaching is going to play such a major factor because it's so wide open, and you have like some new teams with new coaches that I think propelled them like high up in the race. You have a team like the Niners, great, well-coached team, finally, healthy enough to play for the 1 seed. Seahawks, very well coached. Vrabel with New England, Sean Payton, Liam Cohen, like just so many coaches. So I think it's going to be fascinating. Johnson did, these teams are all like up there too. Like they have some of the best, and then like McVay's team is the team that's like
McDonald, LaFleur.
Yeah, it's like all good coaches pretty much up. I mean, and then they'll probably be like even Canales. I mean, we liked him in Tampa too. Clearly they miss him.
I like Canales, yeah.
So I mean, so just fascinating. Evero, like him. So yeah, just good, well coached teams. I think it's that could play a role in a postseason like this. But that's our Sunday 6-pack. Again, if you'd like to tail some of the picks, look for the quick slip link in the pod and video description. Make sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked. Now it's time for our favorite totals of Week 18.
Recording stop.